literally my budget was I bought an $80 massage table and some TheraBand. And, we started out at my house. We were in my home
Yeah.
office, and like that was it, um, I get it. And that was my goal was really like, and everybody does it a little bit differently, but, being that, I want to be home with my kids more. I was like, I'm not taking out a loan. I know, lots of people
Yeah.
do, and but that's the way we decided to start. If this is going to work, I'm going to build it from the ground up. And thank God we have.
Welcome to Mastering the Numbers. I'm your host, Joe Mallow. All right, hello everyone. This is Joe Mallow with a Lead Edge Consulting Group powered by Focal Point Business and Executive Coaching. And this is the Mastering the Numbers interview series. Appreciate everybody being here. And I also appreciate my guest today, Lisa Marino. She's the founder and co-owner of Victress Health and Wellness. Lisa, thanks for taking part in the interview series.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Lisa, can you do the audience and myself a favor? Can you educate us a little bit on Victress Health and Wellness?
Yeah, yeah. So, Victress Health and Wellness, basically we say we build the ideal in healthcare. So our foundation is what's called direct primary care. So we start with there's this whole movement within healthcare to have more of a direct relationship and kind of remove insurance from primary care and from a lot of healthcare. But so direct primary care is the heart of what we do. And then we also do physical therapy. That's my background. And nutrition, functional medicine, labs, additional, supplements. So we really have a lot of ancillary services surrounding that, but it's really about bringing primary care back to the heart of your health plan, back to the heart of the health of your family. And our bread and butter is doing a root cause approach. So that's really what separates us from the rest of healthcare, I would say.
Great. And it seems like, I guess removing insurance out of the equation, it seems like it probably makes it easier for your clients, your patients to get the care that they really need without the insurance company deciding what they should have and what they shouldn't.
Yeah, I think people are becoming a lot more privy to it. Back, 5 years ago, it was, getting into it was a tough conversation for me because for a while there, we did accept insurance and we're like, oh, this will help people. It'll be good for them. And, start getting into it. And, not only are they not, our physicians getting squashed from it, but at the same time, patients are, not getting better care from it. They're having to pay an arm and a leg for it, so it's just this whole big thing that people are kind of, you're seeing it more in the news,
Yeah.
employees are starting to sue their employer and have, these big pharma groups are getting kind of called out. You're seeing it more and more that people are like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, like they're not really the saviors here in this story. So I think you're going to continue to see it more and more. And it used to be a tough conversation, like, oh, we don't take insurance. And now it's like, I am so glad we do not take insurance. It's
Yeah.
an easy conversation for us to have now with folks. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine how easy it is. I've spent way too much time with the hospital that my son went to when he broke his wrist playing lacrosse and going back and forth with the insurance company, and they didn't want to cover any of it. So, fortunately, we're going to be able to afford it, but there's a lot of people out there that can't. So,
You're absolutely
so
right.
it is interesting. Well, what actually where are you located?
So we're in Sydney, Ohio. So right off
Okay.
of I-75, just north, about 45 minutes north of Dayton, Ohio.
Okay, great. So, what inspired you to start your own business?
Oh man, it was exactly that. It was really kind of seeing the writing on the wall in healthcare. I have several different stories, patient stories that stick out in my mind. The one that I always share is starting out in graduate school at OSU Medical Center, and literally my very first patient in the hospital was a gentleman that was easily, 500 pounds, and we could barely get a gown to fit around him. And he's in his 30s, and he's got his kids running around and he's a young guy. I'm like, how have we failed you? Like, where were we 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And it's just a sad reality we live in. I just didn't want to accept that fate. Like obviously he
Yeah.
needs care where he's at right now, but I wanted to be reaching people 20 years before that, 15 years before that, and saying,
Yeah.
why are we not getting to the root of this sooner? Why are we letting, it go so far? And so that would happen over and over again. It was with back pain because it wasn't just the back pain. They were depressed and their gut was a mess, and nobody was ever really putting the big pieces of the puzzle together. And so that was a huge reason I, started out in mainstream healthcare, but just couldn't really watch it go down the way that it was. It was, we have to do something different. And there definitely is a huge faith-based component to what we do because we want to reach people where they're at. But most of the time, people are suffering and nobody's really giving them any meaning or value, in their
Right.
suffering. And that's when they're struggling to lose weight and they feel like crap and they can't get rid of their migraines and, on and on. So that was a huge, motivator as well to really like, be able to listen to people and reach people. In that hard time, but nobody was really, from a treatment standpoint, looking at the bigger picture for them.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not taking a look at what's really causing it all. They're just trying to treat whatever's happening at that exact second, and then they walk
Yeah.
away. So,
Right. Right.
um, yeah, so I think that's really phenomenal what you're doing, and especially why you did it. So, what are some of the biggest challenges or struggles you've had in getting Victress up and running into where it is today?
Oh man. It's kind of one of those like, if I would have known, had I known now, no, it really is. It's just, solve the problem in front of you. Try to, um, just do the right thing right now, right? So it's like I knew I had to do this, and with my husband's support, I knew we had to do something different. So it's like just solve the thing that's right in front of you. Obviously, we have a vision and we have, where we're going. Sometimes we divert from that, but it's um trying to um be able to keep that, vision in front of you and know
Yeah,
that it's probably that any challenges are a part of the learning process. They're part of making you better. So it's really changing that
yeah,
mindset of anything that I'm going to run into is for a good reason. And it's only going to make us, we'll say fail fast, right? So like
right,
you're going to mess up quickly and then don't repeat it, So it's like
right.
you're going to have challenges, but that's part of the process. And it, only makes you better and helps you figure out exactly where you need to be.
Yeah, yeah. I think you have to fail a little bit and struggle a little bit to really get to where you want to be, to get that, get your company where you really want it. So,
Yeah.
is there anything you would have done differently in the creation or growth of Victress now that you look back?
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that, just would have decided quicker. And even now, I'm kind of more on the business development side and sales. And it's like, once you decide you're going to do something, like really do it, And
Yeah,
there's sometimes where we kind of just kind of mull it around, and wait. And it's like, no, you decided you're going to do it, do it. And so, I
yeah,
think it's about that. Do what it takes to get your mindset to be in the right frame, where
yeah,
you are aligning the intention that you have with the action that you need to be doing. It's usually that hard thing, like what is that hard
right.
thing that I'm not doing? And yeah, that answer your question.
It did. It did for
Yeah.
sure. Well, to take it in a little bit of a different direction, I'm sure you have a lot of friends and acquaintances who aren't business owners
Hmm.
like we are. They
Yeah.
work in the corporate world. What are some of the most common misconceptions that you hear from those individuals about you being a business owner?
Well, I can definitely speak to the, and even my mom said this the other day because we're like, oh, we're looking at this, my husband also, is a small business owner. So like, oh, we're just looking at other options and like, what are you going to do about your insurance? I'm like, exactly, your health insurance. Like that's the number one thing. Like your corporate health insurance, I bet I can hands down find you something that is better
Yeah,
for you and your family. So that's another one. Like I can't leave the security of these benefits that, that's what a company I was talking to today. They have like 3,600 people that they pull from for, for their plan. Oh, we're
right,
protected because they can negotiate better than like I can. I'm like, no, actually, there's a better way to do it, So that's definitely a misconception is that like if I can't leave my, corporate job because I won't be protected, I won't have this good, insurance package and, you know,
right,
uh, that will cost more. It will cost a lot of money for me to try to make my own, insurance plan.
right. And that's not the case.
Not the case. Yeah.
That's the case.
Obviously it helps if you're healthier, but there are plenty
Yeah,
of options out there to do, do a better job and do it right, so,
Yeah.
um, you know, other misconceptions. I mean, obviously, when you're first starting out or, different stages of growth, it is nice to have the flexibility, and and be able to prioritize what's important to you, in
Right.
your life. Um, and it doesn't have to interfere with, you know, the way you want your life,
Right.
where you feel like God is calling you to be doing, like if you need to be
Yeah.
more present with your kids, if you need to be, like you get to decide, and so, you can run your business in the way that is best for your family. And I think, you can't trade that for the world.
Oh, for sure. And that kind of leads into my next question. I always ask everybody is, how do you balance your professional and personal life? So is it just, have you been doing it that way from the very beginning, and now it's just more of a routine than anything?
Yeah, I mean, obviously my story's a little different because I have kiddos and I got into this right as I had, our first child. Now we have four. So that has always been the number one priority is that, my husband and my kids come first. So that's why I've really only built this business part-time. I'm fortunate to have my sister as another partner. So together we kind of say we make one full-time,
Yeah.
owner. But that's the way we decided. Like our families come
Yeah.
first. We need to be present at their games and we need to be able to be there to make dinner. Um, and so, but that's the way that we've, decided to run things. And so that's, that's how we've decided to. And I think whatever you set out to do, if you keep those things in order, it's one of our core values
Yeah.
is order. God, family, and then our work, and everything else we say.
Yeah.
So, but you kind of get to decide what you want that order and that structure. Like if it's
Yeah.
important for me to be there, at dinner time or at the games or, have lunch with my spouse or whatever, like you get to decide what is important in that order and in that routine. And if you stick with that, obviously, there's times when we pick up extra meetings or we go to a chamber event or, and then
Right.
but you get to decide, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to
Yeah.
do that, and it's not going to be at the expense of, you know, my family or meal times or whatever. And,
Yeah.
you have those conversations with your spouse ahead of time, um, to know where can we, because, I would argue most folks that are in this boat are willing to work hard,
Right.
like you're saying, it's avoiding that burnout or getting to the point where, I can't do this anymore, so what is it going to, where are you at so you don't push the limits,
Right.
too far.
Right. I think there's a lot of people out there that should and could take note of what you just said. I think it's so important. A lot of people go into owning a business and they just run themselves 24 hours a day, and they forget about everything else. And how you put it together from the very beginning. Your kids are going to benefit from you putting it together that way. Your husband, your friends, family, your
Yeah.
faith, everything benefits from that, instead of nobody seeing you, which is
Yeah.
which is what a lot of small business owners do. They work themselves
Yeah.
nonstop, and everything else suffers. So I really like that. It all started from the very beginning, which
Yeah.
I agree. So
I easily have to force myself to build in times to
yeah,
rest, to,
yeah,
do other things, go back to my other hobbies, things like that, because it helps
yeah,
creative juices flowing. If you just, um, I would say it's probably easy for most of us to work too much, so then,
yeah,
okay, keeping things in check and what does that look like? And, allow yourself to stay in the creative and stay in kind of the rest and being present. And,
yeah.
that only is going to help you be a better business owner.
Exactly. Well, then you probably agree that you can have a successful business and have work-life balance. It is possible. A lot of people, some people don't believe in it,
Agree.
but
Yeah.
it is possible if you work hard towards it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I
So,
agree.
do you have a support team that's built around you to kind of keep you on track, and not only you but also the company going in the right direction?
Yeah, that's probably been one of our best moves is continuing to add to that. Obviously couldn't do that all at once, you're starting from, I
Yeah.
mean, literally my budget was I bought an $80 massage table and some TheraBand and we started out of my house. We were in my home
Yeah.
office, and like that was it, so um So, I get it. And that was my goal, was really like, and everybody does it a little bit differently, but being that, I want to be home with my kids more. I was like, I'm not taking out a loan. I know, lots of people
Yeah,
do, and there's, but that's the way we decided to start. If this is going to work, I'm going to build it from the ground up.
yeah,
And thank God we have. But that being said, building the team around, as we've been able to invest in, we have like a fractional CFO. He's outstanding. I was doing a lot of that on my own, building it out, the vision, what we would need, and kind of the planning and stuff. But to be able to have somebody with the knowledge and experience to kind of, add to that team, like you're
yeah,
saying, same thing on the legal side. Hey, here's what we're thinking, but now to build that in. Same thing on the insurance policy side. So it's just really building that
yeah,
team around. We rely on our spouses a lot too, just
yeah,
because they're the ones that could say with perspective, hey, you're really, you're getting out in the woods here or the weeds here, like
yeah,
it can kind of keep us on track a little bit, so they know us so well that we do rely on them, quite a bit too as a part of our team. Same thing, we've got um, come from kind of a family of entrepreneurs. So just, can't say enough about having family built around
yeah.
us, that are entrepreneurs. And we kind of have our little group text going of, hey, I'm thinking about this. And they're like, no, that's a terrible idea, or this would work, but so definitely having support around us is incredibly valuable.
Yeah, I think it's critical. I think
Yeah.
all good business owners or all good business people, period. If
Yeah.
they have a support team, it's always going to make everything easier and I think
Yes.
more successful. So,
Yeah.
so you have your own business, your husband has your own business, you have 4 kids, you have a lot going on, no doubt. How do you stay motivated and focused in all the key areas?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say, hands down is prayer anytime that I'm off of, my prayer life because I'm too busy, that you don't, make time for it. It's like that's when I lose really focus of what the whole point of this is and raising a family and building a business. And that's when I really lose the most focus and I'm,
Yeah,
way more motivated and on task and encouraged,
right,
when I'm tapped into my prayer life. So that's huge because what will happen, and this is kind of the mainstream side of it, is when that's not a part, it's easy for, you know, the comparison game on LinkedIn or to be, getting rejected and, letting that get a hold of you. And, so like if I'm
right,
not redirecting that, it's easy to compare and why am I not here and there? And, you cannot physically do everything possible and you're only meant to do, one thing at a time
right.
and take one step forward. So I think, I mean, that's pivotal, I think, for anybody.
Yeah, for sure. What would you say? I mean, is probably the most challenging part of your industry for people that maybe thinking about getting into something similar.
And like healthcare specifically, or just in general?
Just I mean, in healthcare and some of the things that you do for your clients.
You said the most like challenging thing.
Yeah, it's about that industry. Besides billing, I know when you were taking
Yeah.
insurance. I know that's from all the doctors that I talk to. That's one of the most challenging things, hands down. So
Honestly, this industry is just so ripe for anybody that is willing to give any kind of good service. Um, what do they always say, right? Like time, service, obviously, money savings, right? So like if you can provide any sort of value, time and cost savings,
yeah,
which the competition is not too great, right now. The wait times are terrible
yeah,
in healthcare, the costs are astronomical, right? And the service, right? The value
yeah,
is not there. We're
yeah.
all getting sicker, right? And so like if you can do
Right,
any of those
right.
like a little bit better,
Yeah,
it's yours for the taking. That's why you're continuing to see more and more innovative health options kind of open up.
yeah,
So um, the challenge is always the same change, right? And so it's getting people to realize that what I'm in is more painful than what I would be going to,
yeah,
and so that's the game that I'm learning myself is that bit of sales of like, wait a minute, is pretty bad over here. The grass is
Yeah,
pretty, greener on the other side. So that's more the challenge is people are so used to the status quo, you know, and just like anything, you're getting them to understand that they're safer to make the
yeah,
change.
yeah. I think a lot of people, including myself, when we go to the hospital, we go to the doctor, we expect it to be a bad experience. So it's just normal,
Right.
right? You know that if your appointment's at 8 o'clock, they probably won't even see it till 8:45,
Right.
and you just expect it to be a nightmare. So you're right. If you can provide better service and a better experience, even if it's just fractionally better, people are going to remember that. They're going to say, hey, you know
Exactly.
what, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So
Yep.
I agree. How do you stay ahead of your competition? I'm sure there are other companies out there that maybe do something similar, maybe not exactly like you, but how do you stay ahead of the competition?
Yeah, I'll say our one of the core values of my high school is being lifelong learners, and that's something we're passionate about. We love learning, so we are digging into the research. We meet every week as a team, and so we're constantly, educating,
Yeah,
re-educating our staff, and that's really important to us. So that's easy for us to kind of stay ahead of what's kind of the latest in
yeah,
healthcare, and then obviously then even then on the health, insurance side of things too, the health plan. So I think when you have that as whether you have to build it in us, it kind of comes naturally because it's something we enjoy doing. But when you build
right,
that into your schedule of constantly learning, and I would say even collaborating, right, and networking, that's only going to help you, stay abreast of
right.
what the market wants and needs.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with a lot of that. So where do you see your business 12 to 36 months from now?
Our goal is to have at least 3 clinics, I would say, by then. We're kind of looking at the next, major markets that are really ripe for this. And that's really our goal is really make that more accessible to um, really kind of this I-75 corridor that we have
Yeah.
here in Ohio.
Anything up here in the Akron or Cleveland areas?
So I'll have to send you the map because there's probably quite a bit up in your area. I'm trying to remember the last time I've looked at the map. There's basically a map of clinics, independent clinics like ours, that folks can check out, and I can send you that link.
Yeah.
Um, and you can search for it. So it's just called dpcfrontier.com. But yeah, so there probably already are. Um, Akron won't be our first move, but I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So actually, I
I
was
think we
looking
I think we
for.
definitely need it.
Yeah, I was looking for I have a cousin that runs cross country and like I need an MRI, like who's the closest? And so, reach out to one of my, one of the clinics up there actually, and they said, "Yep, here's the best cash price." I think it was like $400, in and out the door. And so yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. And if you went to a normal hospital, the $400 would have been maybe your deductible.
Yeah, you're talking
And
more at least 2,000, something like that.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. So having a son that plays sports and a fairly rough sport, and he gets
Yep.
hurt, you see how expensive things are. So
Exactly.
it's pretty amazing. So what's the best business advice anybody's ever given you?
Oh man. Best business advice. Um,
I had to stump you somewhere.
I know, I know. Yeah, I wasn't ready for that one. I don't know. I mean, it's just like, it's silly, but I would say it's, like just go for it. Let's
Yeah.
don't let it hold you back, don't I don't know. Yeah, I would say just go for it.
I honestly I think that's as good a business advice as anything.
Yeah.
There's so many
Learn
people
by
that are just
doing.
that are yeah. There's so many people that are just sitting there waiting.
Yeah,
They're too scared to go to the next step, even though
yeah,
it would be a great experience. And that was me. 28
yeah,
years in the corporate world, and
yeah.
finally, a couple of years ago, I started my own business. So final question: what's a bit of advice you would give to someone who's in business, they've maybe been in business for a couple of years, they're struggling, they're frustrated. What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, take a breath. step back. Like I said, go back. If you can spend some time in, silence, if you can meditate, but even just, sitting in the quiet, whatever it means for you, getting out in nature, taking a walk, maybe going out to dinner with your spouse, and just remember, this is not, you know, sometimes it feels like life or death, but you always have
Yeah.
options, and detach. This is probably my best business advice. Detach yourself, from
Yeah.
your business, that it's not you are not the business. Yes, put a
Right.
lot of time into it, but you need to detach yourself from it. Doesn't mean that you don't work hard and you're not passionate about it and all that, but like, you are
Yeah.
not your business. So um step back from it, be able to take that objective view. Now I can make a better decision to say, what do I need to do next? What is my next move? And get back at it and tackle that one next thing that is going to move the needle, or be able
Yeah.
to help you make those hard decisions, and not see it emotionally, but see it objectively.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. I think there's also an opportunity to seek help, seek wisdom, right? I read an article that came out about 2 months ago that said that almost 90% of small business owners that fail, they never reached out to anybody to get advice or help. They
Yep.
just
Hmm.
they just internalized it and failed. And so
Yep.
so that's also scary. But Lisa, really, I appreciate you taking part in this interview series. I learned a lot. I do need to talk to you about health insurance as a business owner, so we can connect afterwards, hopefully. But if anybody out there wants to learn more about Victress Health and Wellness, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, our website is just victresshealth.com. And my email, I haven't changed it over to like the big, corporate email, but mine's just all written out: Victress Health and Wellness at gmail.com. And my number, I don't know if you want me to share my number, or
I'm
just the
sure
email is good.
I'm gonna put it out there when this goes
Okay,
live, anyways. But if you'd like to, sure.
perfect. Yep. It's just 937-232-5237.
All right. Well, Lisa, once
Yep.
again, I appreciate it. Everybody out there, if you want to find out more, get a hold of Lisa. And everybody that was listening, I really appreciate it. And we'll catch you on the next episode of Mastering the Numbers. Take care, everybody. Take care, Lisa.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye. You've just tuned into another episode of Mastering the Numbers. We hope you found valuable insight to boost your financial success. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Keep pushing forward, and thanks for listening.